Tennessee, NC State. Right now, the line is Tennessee -8, and the over-under is 60.5. And remember, this is a neutral site game. I believe it's in Charlotte.
It's up to 8?
It's up to 8.
All right, here's where I'm at on this game. I know Tennessee fans are super confident right now, and they should be. I just was talking to Bob Baskerville on their radio show up there in Knoxville, and a lot of Tennessee fans think they're going to walk NC State out the door. If there is going to be a blowout in this game, I would think it would be Tennessee over NC State. But I want to caution Tennessee fans a little bit. I know NC State looked very deficient against Western Carolina on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm not making an excuse for them because there's 11 guys out there. And it's got to be next man up. But I believe NC State lost their Mike linebacker the first drive of that game against Western Carolina. The guy that was replacing Peyton Wilson, the green dot guy, the quarterback of the defense. So you're breaking in a new leader at that position. He gets kicked out of the game, and it throws so much off because the Mike gets the defensive line right. He makes sure the call is echoed. Guys are right. That's that voice you're used to hearing. You've heard all summer. You've heard all spring, all summer, all fall camp. But having said that, I was not impressed with NC State tackling in the open field in that game, and they didn't look overtly fast to me. And I know Tennessee played Chattanooga, but I also watched Nico versus Iowa. And Nico looks so locked into this system right now, and he's still got to show us more and more. But when I say that, people are like, oh, well, it's just Chattanooga. I get that. But right now, anybody in the chat or anybody that can call in and tell me, what is Nico bad at? Where is he deficient at? He can run it. He can obviously throw it really well. He can change pitches, which isn't just placement, it's velocity. You got to be able to throw the fastball. You got to be able to throw the changeup. He's got a quick release for a long arm guy. He understands the system. He's been in it long enough to be able to do it with his eyes closed, right? And he looks really confident. So where is Nico bad at right now? We may find that out against NC State. But when I look at NC State, David, I never thought I would go into this game after watching Grayson McCall in week 1 and be wondering, is Grayson McCall, the old head, going to be the quarterback that's going to make the mistake while the young guy doesn't? Because last week, Grayson was like this. It was up and down. It was awful throw, great decision, bad decision. It was up and down. And Concepcion is going to have a big game for this NC State team. I think as it always does, it's going to come down to whether NC State can stop the run. Because if you cannot stop the run in this Josh Heupel system, they are going to murder you. And it's not death by 1,000 cuts. It's I'm going to chop your head off and we're done with it.
Bingo. And I was surprised to see NC State give up 120 yards of rushing to Western Carolina. Now, a couple things to remember here. NC State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson, like I was telling you guys, he was the defensive coordinator for Rich Rodriguez, the safeties coach, not only at West Virginia, but also at Michigan when I was there. What Rich Rod has done historically with his spread offense and the up-tempo system is a lot like what Josh Heupel does. So he's seen this. He's learned under it. I mean, you spend every single day with someone for over a 15 or 20-year period. You know what stresses that sort of system out. That doesn't mean necessarily you're going to stop it. But, I mean, Tony Gibson is very familiar with what Josh Heupel wants to do on Tennessee's offensive side. You talked about Grayson McCall. Very up and down in that first game. I think, Grayson McCall and Jamie Chadwell was like a perfect marriage.
It was.
Coastal Carolina.
That offense he runs is good.
I mean, and it was incredible to watch. And it was a lot of triple option RPO stuff from the shotgun, though. It's like, how much now can Grayson McCall play in this new style of system when he doesn't have Jamie Chadwell to lean on with play calling and scheming guys open and running that triple option RPO style? That you just got to settle down, not turn the football over, and not put Tony Gibson's defense in positions where Josh Heupel can just feast in plus territory, short yardage situations like that.
Yeah, and Blaine, when you're operating against a system that goes warp speed like this, and every offense wants to get the first down, but the way you really hurt them is you don't let them get the drive started, right? Because if you go out there and you operate the way Tennessee operates, if you go 3 and out 2 or 3 times in a row in one half, the defensive snap count is going to be through the roof. And I wonder if it starts like that early, if NC State and Dave Doran says, you know what, this Tennessee defense, I know they've added depth, right? They aren't as thin as they used to be. James Pierce, maybe the best defensive player in college football. But do we try and lean on them a little bit and wear them out and then in the fourth quarter make our move? But Blaine, if you were NC State right now and you were like, all right, this young quarterback, it's not a true road game. It is a neutral site road game, which I think is perfect for Nico as they get ready to go to Norman, which is a true road game. Are you going to heat this young
You got to heat him up. It's your only option. It's your only option. If you're NC State and you're walking this game, one, how long can I keep the football? If there's anything I can control in this game, it is tempo. Can I keep the football out of Nico's hands? And I'm a guy, I'd rather have you say whoa than go. All right, I'd rather go get Nico and have him beat him that way than sit back in zone coverage because they will tear that apart. Tennessee is a rhythm shooter on offense, all right? And if they get a couple first downs and that rhythm starts to come along and they see that ball go through the net a couple times, you're in trouble.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not just that you pressure, it's how you pressure. Because, again, with what Tennessee does, if you show your cards early, and a lot of offenses do this, but when Tennessee's going fast, you have to make faster decisions on defense, and you almost have to show it quicker because you're lining up, and sometimes you can't even call it in.
How many guys can you put on?
Well, what I'm saying is, if you show it too early, he's going to spit it out.
How many guys can you put on the line of scrimmage? You're seeing this all over football. All right? Show it. Doesn't mean you're going. You put them all on the line of scrimmage. Some bail, some stay. Well, it's the double mug. It's basically the double mug.
That's great, but look at Tennessee's wide receiver split.
I mean,
like he widens.
Like you got to pick something.
Well, you got to mix it. To me, you got to mix it up. I agree with that, but I actually, and I hate bringing guys from depth.
No.
I hate this may be the game, and it can just be a spy that you end up bringing from depth. That you bring a guy from depth to muddy the numbers to Nico before the snap, so he doesn't say, "Oh, wow, it's a double A blitz, it's crossfire," or "Oh, it's a B gap blitz." You know, we used to call bullets. I'm just going to spit it out here, and you can show and then try and go back, but you're not catching Squirrel and these other cats once I throw it with these elongated splits. That the wide receivers do, like Art Briles, Baylor's teams used to do. That's where the game is played.
Deep digs and that's what worries me about bringing stuff from depth.
But again, would you rather? I would much rather give up a 12-yard dig and make Nico consistently throw that dig than just start repeatedly sending people. Not only making the decision easier for Nico, but making the throw shorter. You're taking the thinking out of it. So to me, with any young guy and any quarterback in general, you got to mix it up. But there's one thing you do have to lean on. That's what we got to see in this.
Yeah, and traditionally I would say, look, whatever Tony Gibson's going to do on the defensive side, disguise it as much as possible, like you guys are talking about. But that's where that warp overdrive speed comes into play.
It catches you in base. That's why they do it.
Not only are you caught in base, but then you really don't have time or the energy, but mostly the time to disguise what you're going to do, because you just kind of have to go out there and line up in quarter, half, or you have to go play quarters, or you have to go play your cover 2, or even your cover 1 or man or whatever you're in.
Well, the greatest part about this is we're going to find out a lot more about each one of these teams with the step up in competition, and obviously NC State getting their mic back. And nobody needs to sleep on a guy. It's Tennessee fans. If you have not heard the name, KC Concepcion. All right, this is a guy that won ACC Freshman of the Year last year for offense. Scored 3 touchdowns in their first game. He's an NFL player, and he can go get it, and he can give it to you in multiple ways. So if I'm Tennessee, at least from what I've seen on tape, Jordan Waters got a lot of respect for him. Really good back, transferred in from Duke. I stop KC Concepcion. I stop KC. I stop NC State. To me, that is going to be the formula. That doesn't mean he's not going to make any catches. But if we're going 2-man on third down, I know who the hell we're bracketing, buddy. This one, you don't have to go find where Carmen Sandiego is to figure out.
Y'all like the over or under right now?
I'm refused to bet a Tennessee under.
Like I don't know how I can't choose the over. Like with the way NC State's defense looked, with the way
they averaged giving up 6 yards a carry against Western Carolina.
I know
if you think Tennessee,
and that's not just,
if you think Tennessee's just this team that's just going to go out here and throw it around, who led the rushing in the SEC last year?
No.
So Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel wants to run the ball.
Oh, he does. Every smart OC wants to run the ball to set you up for the pass. And again, I know I talked about the Mike being out on that first drive. There was a lot more problems stopping that run game than just that Mike being out. But it sure as heck doesn't help when the guy that gets you right is out of the game after an early targeting. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Do us a favor. If you like the content, which if you're watching this, you probably do, hit subscribe. It's the right thing to do.